The latest reports on Ben Johnson potentially joining the Las Vegas Raiders indicate that he has emerged as a leading candidate of the head coaching position, and according to reports, this has all been possible thanks to new minority owner Tom Brady. And Tom Brady's influence in general has been very impactful for the Raiders thus far. Multiple sources have highlighted that Tom Brady, in his role as a minority owner of the Raiders, has been actively involved in recruiting Ben Johnson. According to NFL insider Ian Rappaport, Tom Brady personally vouched for Ben Johnson and essentially recruited him to take the interview. This was a pivotal move, as Ben Johnson reportedly would not have considered the Raiders job without the influence of Tom Brady. It was reported that initially the three teams he was considering was the Patriots, the Jaguars, and the Chicago Bears, but with Tom Brady stepping in, he made this interview happen. Reports indicate that Tom Brady spent time with Ben Johnson's agent discussing the opportunity in Las Vegas, and this personal touch has been seen as a significant factor in Ben Johnson's potential change of heart to become the Raiders head coach. The things that have changed Ben Johnson's mind is not only the involvement of Tom Brady, but also the presence of a new general manager and new force in football operations, a clean slate for Ben Johnson to walk into. These have been some of the main things that have been sold to Ben Johnson as to reasons why he should consider the Raiders head coaching position, despite the current team's challenges coming off of a 4-13 record and a lack of a franchise quarterback. And right now, everything seems to indicate that Ben Johnson is their number one priority for the Las Vegas Raiders. The Raiders are reportedly enamored with Ben Johnson, viewing him as a strong candidate for their head coaching position. And people have been saying that it looks like the Raiders are going to be willing to wait for him, especially if the Lions continue their postseason run. Now, one thing that is very interesting about the Raiders potentially landing Ben Johnson is what it could potentially look like from a financial standpoint. And so far, there are speculations on the financial aspect part, with reports indicating that the cost of hiring Ben Johnson could be significant, potentially around the range of $90 million over a 6-year period. And Mark Davis, the Raiders owner, has made it known that he's willing to spend what it takes to secure Ben Johnson. So if that's the case, that's approximately $15 million per season, but it will be for 6 years. So this is definitely a huge financial commitment that Mark Davis and the Raiders are willing to propose to Ben Johnson. And honestly, that's a lot of money right there. That might be an offer that Ben Johnson may not be able to turn down, but we just never know. It is possible that he could maybe get even more money. It just depends on how his postseason run goes, especially if he's able to take Detroit to the Super Bowl and that offense continues to look explosive and electrifying in this postseason run. But there's no doubt that if the Raiders want Ben Johnson, they're going to have to sign him a blank check. Now, another thing that makes this whole situation tricky is there's going to be competition for Ben Johnson. Ben Johnson is not just a target for the Raiders. He's also going to be interviewing with other teams as well, including the Chicago Bears and the Jacksonville Jaguars. However, the Raiders appear to be one of the front runners thus far on getting him, with multiple different NFL insiders saying keep an eye on Ben Johnson to the Raiders. And hopefully we can get some news on these other teams potentially making moves at the head coaching position, because the Raiders have made it known that they're willing to wait for him, but I don't know if the Jacksonville Jaguars, I don't know if the Chicago Bears are necessarily willing to do that. Now, Mike McCarthy from the Dallas Cowboys just got fired, so hopefully he could be the new Chicago Bears head coach. And like I said, hopefully these teams can make a move and not be willing to wait for Ben Johnson. That would just obviously make our chances that much better of landing him. But ultimately, I think for the Raiders, their biggest competition is going to be against the Chicago Bears on who can obtain the services of Ben Johnson. Now, if we compare the Chicago Bears with the Raiders, though, the Bears, they are projected to have approximately $82 million in cap space for the 2025 season. They have the 10th overall pick. So from that standpoint, the Raiders have the advantage as they have more capital. They are projected to have approximately $107 million in cap space. And we have the number 6 overall draft pick. But I think the main advantage you can point to for the Chicago Bears is they do have a talented young quarterback, a former number 1 overall pick in Caleb Williams. So that is where things will definitely get interesting. The Raiders definitely don't have a young, promising quarterback with that much upside and potential like a Caleb Williams. But another thing is that the Bears are still tied up with their current general manager, and it has been reported that Ben Johnson wants a clean slate type of situation where the head coach and the general manager can be on the same page, and the Raiders opened up that possibility by getting rid of Tom Telesco, and the Bears still have their GMs, so that definitely gives us an edge on that standpoint. And ultimately though, for the Raiders, even though we currently don't have the best quarterback room in the league, I think you can make the argument to a guy like Ben Johnson that by us having Tom Brady in the mix, running things in the front office standpoint, and ultimately being heavily involved in the scouting and ultimately trying to find the next quarterback. Obviously, a guy like Tom Brady, his resume speaks for itself. 7-time Super Bowl champion, the best NFL quarterback of all time. And just from an X's and O's standpoint at the quarterback position, I think he knows exactly what he needs to look for in a young prospect. So I think you can definitely make the argument to Ben Johnson that even though the Raiders currently don't have that young, high potential type of quarterback, with Tom Brady in the mix and with the Raiders signing Ben Johnson to a long-term contract, indicating that they're going to be patient with him. And obviously Ben Johnson is also a really smart mind when it comes to offensive football and just his overall development. And with him just being able to develop a guy like Jared Goff, whose career wasn't what most people had expected out of him, but under Ben Johnson, Jared Goff has looked like an elite quarterback. So given all these factors, I feel like you could feel a lot better about the Raiders and their potential to find a quarterback with Tom Brady in the mix. So I think that's definitely a huge selling point they could make to Ben Johnson. Overall, the situation appears to be very fluid, with Ben Johnson's final decision likely hinging on multiple different factors, including the team's overall vision, his potential influence over team operations, and the overall project of rebuilding the Las Vegas Raiders, whether or not he's sold on that. But as we know, the Raiders are actively pursuing Ben Johnson. They love what they see from him, and he's ultimately going to be the front runner for this team. And ultimately, it's all thanks to Tom Brady. And another thing is, Tom Brady will be calling the Lions playoff game this Saturday on Fox. So, there's going to be another excuse for Tom Brady to see Ben Johnson, talk to him. And hopefully, Tom Brady can continue to do his magic. And hopefully, he can convince Ben Johnson to join the Silver and Black. And really, having Tom Brady in the building, making these type of football decisions, to me, it's definitely exciting just because it's definitely going to be a huge upgrade over Mark Davis. Mark Davis, I think he has his heart in the right place. He's trying to get things right. He's obviously a guy that doesn't know the game of football like that, doesn't know the ins and out. And although he's tried in the past to get it right, ultimately he's been hiring the wrong people and Dave Ziegler and Josh McDaniels before. But with him hiring Tom Brady, it gives me a lot more optimism and excitement for the future of the Raiders. So it's definitely exciting to see what Tom Brady has done for us thus far and what he can continue to do for us moving forward. But Raider Nation, let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. What do you guys think about the Tom Brady effect thus far? Do you think he has a chance to really change this franchise around, or are we just getting our hopes up? Let me know in that comment section down below. But with that being said, Raider Nation, is all for you guys in today's video. Anybody that's new to the channel, you guys love Raider related content just like this, make sure to like, comment, subscribe to the channel. That being said, I will see you guys in the next one.